Good morning, everybody. As most of you know, my name is Jasmine Sovereign, and today I am accepting this award that me personally, I am quite surprised that I have received and was nominated for. It is actually the Best Server Award for the Blooming Brands. So, just to start off, I have worked in the restaurant industry for almost 3 years now. I have had my ups and downs, and I have moved from different restaurants quite frequently. The first one would be my first ever restaurant job, which is Anthony's Coal Fire Pizza. This is where I personally began loving the restaurant industry and the restaurant business. This is where I have met some of my closest friends, and I have learned honestly how to become a hostess and a server here. If honestly I could still work there, I would. The next job that I will be talking about is BJ's Brew House, which is in Gulf Coast Town Center, and I was a hostess there, and that probably was not one of my favorite jobs, to be honest. There was just a lot of difficulties with the guests that come in and management, and unfortunately I did have to leave that place. Next would be Fleming's, which is a steakhouse in Naples, and this was a good job. It was a great job. I learned a lot. I learned the more high-end type of the restaurant business, and of course, the richer type of people who of course can be quite, demanding, but I did learn a lot as well. And now I personally work at Carrabba's, where I have received the Best Server Award, and this being a server here has taught me so much. I get to meet new people, I get to make connections with the guests and whatnot. So pretty much when I received a call from my manager saying that I had to come in, I personally thought, oh gosh, oh no, I'm getting fired. But no, actually he nominated me as well as my previous employer for the Best Server Award. And pretty much what this award entails is it's only given to a few selected servers. Pretty much, I think it's only one from each store in the region. So it would be the Southwest region. And pretty much what it entails is you have to be a motivated server. You always have to be on your feet, always, caring for the guests first. You have to be friendly. Sometimes that can honestly be hard for me, but since so many of the guests always ask me how tall I am and what sport I play, and it's like, you gotta go along for it. You gotta go along with it for the tips. That's all I gotta say. And then you have to be patient with the guests. And this is a hard one for me, but usually when the older crowd comes into, Carrabba's, they can spend a long time looking at the menu. They can spend up to like 8 minutes just not knowing what to order. But you always have to be patient with them. Another one would be multitasking. This when you're a server, you definitely have to do this. You definitely have to go to one table to the next, and then you have to get drinks for one table and then food for the other table. So you're always on your feet, you're always multitasking, and this in the future can also help me with potentially my internship, or it can help me with my future job not in the restaurant industry. You have to be quick thinking. For instance, if there's a guest who is gluten-free, you really have to know what to do. You have to be polite, even though this might be hard sometimes, but you always got to be nice to the guests, because in the end, that's how you get your tips, as well as, you meet new people once in a while. And then I just solve problems in a timely manner, which every server really has to do. And then the challenges I face while being a server: dropping food on guests. That recently just happened because all the guests just give me all of their plates, and then accidentally I dropped one on the guest and it shattered everywhere. But it was all good because, it happens. Giving incorrect order to guests. For instance, I gave someone who was gluten-free regular pasta. That didn't go well because in the end, they did call and they got really sick, and I was like, oh my goodness. Being harassed by guests, that happens a lot. I don't know why, it just happens. Just because they think I'm their server and not just a regular person, but that's all in the past. Poor tips. usually happens a lot. It occasionally works with managers who work at a previous, at a different restaurant. One example is I was serving a manager. I think he was a manager at Outback. It was a $150 check. He tipped me $6. So that day was not a happy day. And lastly, which is my personal favorite, is property damage due to customers. So this happens quite often. I don't know why. But one example was a fraternity formal that went wrong. It was late at night, and it was a fraternity formal after they just decide they want to come to Carrabba's at 10:30 at night when we close at 11. And they vandalized the bathroom. They ripped, I don't know, the sink out, and then they damaged the walls, and they decided to use the bathroom on the walls. So, and of course I had to clean that up, but it's fine. But there are a few problems I have solved while working in the restaurant industry and as well as Carrabba's. So this is mainly the reason why I received this award, is bug issues. It happens. It's bug season. There was quite a few incidents where there was bugs in guest food, and then I paid for the whole check and everything was fine. Servers being sick or don't show up for work. There have been multiple times where the servers have been sick just because school is going on, and then they don't come into work because sometimes happy hour, because Keys Bars is right down the street. So that's a fun time. Few SMGs, which is pretty much, I would say, satisfaction surveys. So I always tell my guests right after, I always try to give the best service, and in the end I tell them if you can fill out the code at the bottom, and that makes our store happy and it makes myself happy as well. And unhappy customers, such as children. There's been countless times where I have had to take care of the guests' kids, and that just happens. So in the end, serving in the restaurant industry has taught me so many lessons and introduced me to so many variety of people that can help me in the near future. And if you cross problems or meet challenges you can't always accomplish, just the hard work you always put in is the key to rise above any challenge, which I have learned. And in the end, you may receive something in return you never expected, such as this award, because honestly, not the best server, but I try my best. Thank you.